Last month, I felt unstoppable. I was strong, I was focused, I was energized, and then blah, 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 blah. No big crash. I just kind of had this quiet fade of motivation. I also had an ear infection, which didn't help, but it forced me to pause. And that pause really turned into one of the most productive things I could do: take a reset. So today I want to walk you through a research back ritual that I use when my motivation tanks. And I'm going to call it the 10-minute reset lab. And it's really built around four simple elements that help you come back to yourself fast. Interested? Let's do this. Hi, y'all. I'm Dr. Danielle McHugh. I'm a mom, I'm a professor, and I am a recovering overachiever. And today we're going to talk about why resets work. And y'all, this isn't the self-care fluff. This is actually evidence-based state shifts. So I'm going to be talking about how we can use short intentional actions to recalibrate both our physiology and our psychology. We're going to also look at some research on micro breaks and how it shows that it improves our energy as well as our task management. And again, you all, if you've been listening, around here, our goal isn't necessarily to do more, but to regain agency, to feel like I have choice in my life. I am making the life that I live. And we really want to move from being reactive to intentional. So y'all, our brains are constantly scanning for cues of overwhelm or safety. And when we reset, basically we're giving ourselves a cue of safety, a message that says, hey, you're allowed to pause and you can choose what happens next. So I had a really awesome September, actually. We were moving into the school year, and usually that's a little bit wild, and it was wild, but I felt really stable, grounded, focused throughout the month. I had 4 speaking gigs, 1 a week, and that was really exciting, but also not something that I was used to in terms of just the cadence of my schedule. And our kids are also going through some different health issues. And so we just had a lot of doctor's appointments, and we continued to this month of October. I knew that October would get really busy, but what I didn't expect is for me to all of a sudden just feel a lack of motivation, because I was feeling so great in September. I didn't really see this coming. I've been exercising really, really regularly. It was feeling really good. I had really good just routines, rhythms, rituals in place. And then smack, all of a sudden I got super tired. I ended up with an ear infection, and that not only wiped me out for a day, but it's taken me almost a week now to get my energy levels back up. But I knew that even before the ear infection hit, something was going on. And I don't know if I just overdid it in September. And even though I felt really awesome most of the month, I needed to pull back a bit. I don't know if, there was just a few things. Like, I have been exercising really regularly, but I just keep gaining weight. Y'all, 40s are wild in terms of what it does to your body. For those just tuning in, I'm 43. I'll be 44 in not too long. I do think that I'm probably perimenopausal. So my body is doing some weird stuff. Like, it just isn't responding like it used to. So I don't know if I was just feeling a little blue, because as I was doing my September review and my October preview, I did sort of realize that I had done really awesome in September, and yet I wasn't seeing some of the results that I was hoping for, and that can hit your motivation a bit. I also go back and forth between needing routine, needing things to be on repetition. I need consistency, but I also need novelty. And I don't know if things are just growing a little stale and I just needed to switch things up. But y'all, I did a major reset. So one, our family had already planned a trip to the Dells. I did end up taking a day off of work to go to the doctor, and just because I was absolutely bottomed out, flat, tired, and I needed to rest. And so I took a day off last week, and then we had already planned for our family to take a 3-day weekend to the Dells. And so we took off on Thursday night, and we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday there, and got back later on Sunday evening. Right away, though, I was like, having that rest, having that time away from work was really, 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 really good for me. I also knew that I couldn't let the reset there, that I was going to need to make some intentional decisions going into this week to actually reset. I knew that there were a few things that were working for me, and I was really curious if there was research to back up those things. And so I spent, I don't know, quite a bit of time diving into some research on what are some of the elements that we know really help you reset. And I created what I'm going to be calling a 10-minute reset lab. And the first thing is to move your body. And so when I got home from the Dells, it was 8 o'clock at night. I said late-ish. 8 o'clock is kind of late for me. And I immediately was like, I'm going to go get a 20-minute exercise in, lift some weights, move my body. This is kind of late in the evening for me to do this, but I knew that having physical activation can really shift our brain chemistry. And I love to exercise actually, and I really gotten off of my routine with the ear infection, being on antibiotics and all that stuff. There is some research from 2006, the authors are Reeds and Ones, and they talk about how even short bursts of movement can create some positive effect. So that 20 minutes at 8 p.m. made me feel like, okay, I can do this. I can get things back on track. And I will say I did not go hard. I kept my weights low. I really checked my intensity levels to make sure that I wasn't overdoing it. But I really want you to think about, how could you move for 2 minutes today? 2 minutes, just enough to remind your body that you're alive, right? And to connect with your body and to sort of use that to help reset you and refocus you. The other thing that I knew that I really needed to do was to remove some distractions. So I had realized, especially while we were on vacation, I wasn't working, that I was spending way too much time on Instagram. And there is this mental load of constant notifications. And I knew that I needed to put my phone on lockdown mode and really return to some healthier practices there. So I don't know when that started to slip, but I definitely noticed this is not how I want it to be while I was on vacation. And I was like, I want to be present with my family. Also, because we were at a water park, I did not bring my phone with me most of the time. And that was really helpful. I started to notice just the mental relief it was to not be there. So after you've moved your body for 2 minutes, I want you to think, what's a boundary that you could set that would protect your presence, your ability to be present, and not maybe even just your productivity. And, use this time to maybe go and put your phone on lockdown, move one of your apps, take just a few minutes, even just 30 seconds, and do something that helps you set that boundary that's going to protect your ability to be present in the moment. The third, and this isn't going to surprise any of you all, but put pen to paper. There is so much research that shows that there is something powerful about pen to paper instead of being on our computers and typing or, any of these other things. So there's something about writing that externalizes emotion and creates cognitive closure. And if you're interested, there is an journal article by Penbaker and Smith from 2016 where they talk about this. But I knew that I really needed to do this. So rewind a few months ago, I really needed to get a new journal. I had filled up my last one. And in my head, I was like, okay, let's just get a cheap bullet journal from Amazon. Y'all, I have preferences. I really like Archer and Olive. I also really like Bullet Journal Edition 2. I should be specific because I am weirdly picky. And so I really like those. And I also do like Erin Condren notebooks. I flippin' love the Erin Condren Mohawk 80-pound paper. It's the best thing ever. It's just the right amount of grittiness. Anyway, for whatever reason, I was like, Danielle, let's do it cheap. So I bought something cheap, and there's something about it that I just don't enjoy as much. It's not as cozy. It's not as juicy. And so I was like, you know what, Danielle, let's crack open a new journal. And I happened to find my daughter actually sitting right here. My daughter had taken one of my bullet journals from me. She had put a little sticky note that had her name on it and written her name in the front of it. And she was like, "Can this be mine?" And I said, "Yes." And then she didn't touch it for like a year. And I was like, "You know what? I'm claiming this as mine. Own again. It is nice and crisp, and I'm going to jump right back in it." So that's what I did. And right away, having that like crisp new journal was super nice for me to be able to get back into my morning ritual, which includes journaling. And it also includes, and I had done this as well, is I pulled out my Since the Possibilities planner and journal. These are available online. You can go to plangoalplan.com/planners. You can find this Since the Possibilities planner and journal. I immediately went in, did my weekly preview in there, did a few reflection pages. This is a really great resource if you're wanting to get into your goal setting for 2026. Is that what year it's going to be? Oh my gosh. And I do have a 2026 planner coming out if you want to get on the wait list. I'm hoping that I'll have the hard copy soon and I can be sharing that with you. But all of this is to say, this is a really important practice that grounds me. And so if you need a little bit of a prompt, what I would say is, get out a journal, get out a notebook, I don't know, use a napkin. And I just want you to finish writing this sentence. The next tiny step is ... The next tiny step is, and finish that sentence. That will get you rolling. The fourth thing, and this is part of my morning ritual as well, is to pray, is to connect to your source. So whatever, I'm a God girl, but I actually find people's like spiritual beliefs, religious, non-religious, but just spiritual beliefs as a whole, really flippin' interesting. And there is so much research that show that people that have a strong sense of gratitude, spirituality, and meaning in their lives tend to be happier, tend to be more grounded, more connected. So this doesn't necessarily need to be religious. If you are religious, cool, lean into it. If not, meditation, stillness, breath, all of these things can help us connect a sense of gratitude, a sense of I'm part of something larger than myself. Something that gives you a sense of meaning is so important. Also for me, it is profoundly important when I am feeling blah, when I am feeling muck, to realize that I do not have to do this alone. And so for me, connecting to God, connecting to something that's bigger than myself is so important. So I also want you to think about, what is it that helps you remember that life is too big to do alone? And how can you do something that connects you, that is connective? And then finally, how do we make this stick? So there is tons of research on behavior change. And one of my favorite tools are if-then plans, right? So this is an implementation intention trick, I guess, that is very much connected to research, where when you pair a research with an existing cue, you can help build consistency. So if I pour my morning coffee, then I'm going to do my 10-minute reset, right? If you can attach it to something. If I brush my teeth, then I'm going to do my 10-minute reset. And again, the reset doesn't have to take very long. We're doing like 2 minutes of moving our body, right? We're going to remove distractions. We're going to put pen to paper, and we're going to connect to our source. That's it, right? Move body, remove distractions, pen to paper, connect to source. If you do what's something that you regularly do, then you're going to do this 10-minute reset. If you have some additional time, because at this point, you could probably do all of this in like 7 minutes, right? If you have 3 more minutes, I want you to think of, what is it that you need right now? Do you need more movement? Did that feel really good and you find yourself craving that more? Was it boundaries? Did removing the distractions make you feel lighter? Are you seeking clarity? Can you find that through journaling? Or maybe you need more connection, more meaning, okay? Also, if you want some prompts to help you with your journaling, I love to journal, but I oftentimes feel like I need a little bit of guidance. Check out the Sense the Possibilities planner and journal. I would love that to be in your home, and it has juicy paper too, you all. I'm not going to skimp there. So also, if you want to track your resets and notice patterns, I've created a simple worksheet that you can use. It's called the 10-minute reset lab. If you're interested in it, just, connect with me on social. I'm mostly on LinkedIn. You can find me there, Danielle McGee. You can also just email me at support@plangoalplan. Say, hey, I want this 10-minute reset ritual worksheet, and I'll send it to you. Okay. Y'all, a reset isn't about doing more. It's about reconnecting with yourself. It's about finding yourself again, finding that motivation, finding that energy. I am not quite there yet, but I already feel so much better. And I'm so glad that I had that week of blah so that it would prompt me to really reset and reconnect. I appreciate y'all so much. I wish for you a week that feels like a reset, that feels cozy, that you connect with energy and meaning again. And until next time, be well, be balanced, and be well, friends.